Enterprise AI adoption is outrunning enterprise security. Organizations are racing to deploy generative and agentic AI, but the trust rails aren't keeping pace. Shadow AI, it's everywhere. Private AI stacks are rapidly evolving, and security teams, they're expected to keep track of it all. The continued proliferation of new point solutions is also creating blind spots across data, identity, and runtime activity. And the risk of this scenario that I'm laying out is a widening trust gap. Now, as sensitive data is exposed and more models are deployed, especially without rigorous testing, AI applications risk entering production without the kind of protection that enterprises would never accept for traditional workloads. Our research has always pointed to designing security in from the start across the entire lifecycle, from development to deployment, from discovery to runtime, including governance and compliance. This is the only viable strategy to keep our data and our applications safe. With AI, the stakes have been raised, and this intensifies the requirement for a more comprehensive approach than we've been used to for the past decade. My name is Dave Vellante, and today we're joined by Dhawal Sharma, who's Executive Vice President and Head of Product Strategy at Zscaler. We're going to unpack how AI security is evolving, why fragmented tools are creating more challenges than ever, and how Zscaler is extending its zero trust platform to protect both public AI usage and private AI investments. And we're really interested in how to do this without slowing the path to production. Now, welcome. Good to see you. Thank you for making the time on theCUBE.
Thank you, Dave, and great to be here speaking with you.
Yeah, so AI adoption, as I said, it's accelerating across enterprises, but security, in our view anyway, hasn't kept pace. Would love to know what you think. But so from your vantage point, where is the gap? How wide is it? And what is the critical issue here?
Yes. So, about 3 years ago, I remember we were at the RSA conference in San Francisco when ChatGPT came out. And it's been 3 years since, and the enterprise adoption of AI has been increasing significantly since then. It started with enterprises coming to Zscaler and telling us that they want to block the use of GenAI applications. Then the needle started moving towards safely enabling GenAI applications for their users, for them to be more productive, for their developers to start using new GenAI tools to enhance their productivity. And now we are seeing massive proliferation of AI infrastructure, like foundational models and, hyperscaler-based model, MCP servers. And we are at cusp of the adoption of agentic AI within enterprises, which is still experimental. But I think what organizations are also realizing is that traditionally how they have built security to protect their users and workloads in the cloud is not necessarily going to be extensible for protecting the generative AI and agentic AI systems as well. So from our side, what we have been doing in the first couple of years of this evolution is helping organizations understand what GenAI applications are being used within their organization. So visibility is something that CISOs care for. Once they see that GenAI usage, they can decide which applications they want to allow access and block everything else. So we started with a deep visibility of AI applications and ecosystem, allowing GenAI applications and supporting capabilities like extracting prompts and being able to do data leakage prevention on those prompts, and then being able to support additional protocols like WebSockets and Protobuf that are being evolved to transfer traffic by these AI applications. And this landscape is evolving, of course. So now the needle is moving more towards enabling AI infrastructure at scale, starting with visibility, then building governance and more security around these new AI infrastructure components, and then extending that for agents that will actually complement humans, as well as autonomous agents that will do tasks on behalf of humans in the future as well.
Okay, so we've gone from block everything to now, okay, how do we enable it and enable it safely? And then building frameworks that we can actually, keep that deployment, as I was saying up front. How do you do this without slowing deployment down? Well, you do it by making sure that those approved sort of systems and platforms, can get out to the market quickly. And I called up front in my little narrative there, 3 things: shadow IT, the whole private AI stack, which is evolving quickly, and then these point solutions as major risk drivers. So some of those are similar, some of those are different. Like, what's the same? What's the different? Why are these creating more dangerous blind spots for CISOs?
Yeah, so the world of AI, as I mentioned, is evolving with a deep embedding of AI within the SaaS application that your employees have been using. Good example is Microsoft Copilot. You look at Agentforce, which is embedded inside the Salesforce, and you look at any SaaS company like Workday and Databricks. On the data side, they all are building agent marketplaces or have built agentic AI capabilities that are going to be adopted. One of the big challenges in adoption of these agentic system was lack of authorization or identity system for AI agents. So recently, Microsoft released their Entra ID for agentic identity. There are other, AI infrastructure companies that are building AI registries that give you the understanding of what these agents are. If they are tied to a digital twin, or they are a digital twin of a human, you can basically use the human identity to build controls around it. If they're autonomous, then you need to make sure the identity framework supports it, and then being able to support this agent-to-agent protocol, MCP traffic, which is a way for these agents or AI systems to communicate with traditional application or talk to each other. You need to be able to extend the controls that traditionally you have built to protect users in these environments. And these are net new environments that we have not seen before. Also, AI systems are very pervasive in the organization. So think of it this way: when a regular employee today goes to ChatGPT, you are worried that they might exfiltrate something which is sensitive data that goes out to the internet. But also you have developers who are using, AI-based developer tools like Cloud and Windsurf and Devin, which are being adopted within organizations, and they are connecting to your GitHubs. They are connecting to your foundational models that you have on AWS Bedrock or GCP Vertex, and then these are talking to sensitive data sitting in your data stores in public cloud. So the data lineage from the user's device to AI systems to data stores in public cloud is happening. And unless you have visibility, whether by looking at the traffic in line, by connecting to these data stores, you bring that visibility with the full context of user or the AI system that are touching that data, that visibility is incomplete. And one of the things that we are seeing, as any new domain in security emerges, there are a lot of startups doing interesting things in this area, and we are talking to a lot of them as well. But they are basically supplying you a piece of puzzle in this visibility in the AI world. One of the things that we have done, and we are further enhancing and launching in January, is the full AI asset management, including Gen AI usage, development usage in AI world, and the AI ecosystem in that area, AI security posture management for public cloud and private AI, as well as full AI bill of material. So all your AI assets, whether these are agents, these are MCP servers, these are foundational models, or hyperscaler based models, or these are your AI assets, are all in a single place with their interdependencies and their access to data fully visible to you. That visibility is something which most CISOs are lacking today. Once they have that visibility, then they can build more control around it. And that's the next phase of evolution in which we have built certain products that I'm happy to walk you through as well.
Yeah, before we get there, so I just want to play it back. So the asset visibility stuff, now that's interesting. That came through an acquisition, correct? The SPLX AI, is that correct? That capability came there, or was it a combination of organic and maybe some others? Can you just clarify that for me?
It's a combination of organic and inorganic. For last 2 years, the big focus from Zscaler was around Gen AI public app usage.
Mm-hmm.
These are Gen AI apps that your employees are using. CISOs have been building controls after getting full visibility, like DLP, prompt extraction, and being able to allow access through our zero trust browser, where the access could be containerized, so people can't upload, download, or copy paste certain things. So that is something thousands of enterprises were already using from us. We also had started building a security posture management around AI, which is very focused on the public cloud Gen AI usage and its access to data. SPLX, though its core strength is AI red teaming, and I'll talk more about it in a minute, but they also came with deep visibility on building this AI bill of materials, saying what AI foundational models or hyperscaler models you have in your environment, what data is being accessed by them, and what IDE or Git environments they have access to, which complemented what we were already doing ourselves. So this is a better together, bringing the full visibility canvas together is what SPLX has done and complemented what we were doing in-house.
Got it. Okay. So, and just playing back what you had said earlier, I mean, you got all SaaS is getting AI-ified. So it's everywhere, and it's embedded. I mean, it's not the separate thing that you go secure. It's inherent. And so you got human in the loop, which is, partly not new, but it's new in the sense that you've got a different context. And now you've got autonomous agents, you've got new protocols like MCP. And so having visibility on all of this is critical, so you can identify where your blind spots are, you can unhide the blind spots and identify where your risks are. And that sounds like that's a major change and a major initiative that you guys are taking on. Did I get that right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. So as I mentioned, it all starts with visibility. We are providing a lot of this visibility to our customers out of the box. We are the gateway for all their traffic. It is our job to make sure our customers can not just see traffic coming over web protocols, but everything else, which we are really good at classifying, categorizing these applications, and then being able to build the lineage of where these AI applications, Gen AI applications, infrastructure is connecting and talking to each other. So CISOs have full visibility. Think about how the world of network security has evolved over a period of time. First thing you need to make sure is, how does a point A in your network connect to point B in the network? Point A could be user, workload, IoT OT asset, which connects to an application server or another IoT OT asset, and then you secure those network paths. That is exactly how we are thinking of AI infrastructure. There is a entity or a source which is generating traffic or trying to connect to another AI asset or a traditional application. And how do we secure that? A lot of traditional security provides you a perimeter level security, but not deep enough security with the behavior or understanding of AI system. That is what we are building. And that's why we think of it as zero trust exchange for AI. Like we have done zero trust exchange for users, workloads. We are extending the same concept of zero trust exchange for AI systems as well.
Yeah, and Zscaler kind of was one of the first, if not the first, to really jump on the cloud native security a piece of the market. You are kind of a market creator, and so now you're kind of positioning this more holistic end-to-end solution. So I'm trying to understand, what does it mean to go from development through deployment? So for a practitioner, what does that really mean for them?
So that's the right, I would say, framing. We built this cloud security done in the cloud as a framework, right? 15 years ago. The world has evolved. Today, every traditional vendor is trying to do the same thing. Now, when you think about how this extends into the world of AI, from our side, first thing, as I mentioned, was all about deep asset visibility, AI, asset management, AI asset visibility. Then there are two things that you need to do. One thing we were doing about 18 months ago, we started a project, we made it generally available. We rolled it out in early access in June timeframe. We have dozens of customers deploying it in production, is what we call as AI Guard, which is essentially a specialized AI security system that sits between your LLMs, whether these are things like OpenAI, Anthropic, or Bedrock, or Vertex, talking to your application. So applications traditionally were all things like chatbots that you are building for employees, or B2B2C chatbots that you're building on your consumer website, talking to your LLMs. We have customers who are building supply chain application, financial trading application that are talking to these LLMs as well. And we are essentially the guardrails that sit between these applications speaking with your LLMs and AI infrastructure. In this world, now the fundamental difference is traditionally when we have done data leakage prevention, when we have done security for web traffic, we have used signatures, we have used regular expression and patterns to detect things and being able to block bad things from coming into your network and good things from leaking out. In world of AI, you have to understand the context and behavior. That's why instead of using CPU to basically build these security controls and run these security engines, we actually have to move the model to GPUs, where we are actually learning the behavior of this application, contextualizing it, and building small and large language-based detectors that are very topic-based. They can see for example, PII leakage and your DLP kind of control, but also cybersecurity like prompt injection and malicious content being exchanged between apps and your LLMs, and also then broader content-based topic moderation, like seeing if your LLMs are hallucinating or going off topic or start talking about your competition. Competition for a car manufacturing is different from competition for financial services. You can't pre-train it. So once you deploy the system, they learn, and that's how they build their body of knowledge and apply that in securing those workloads. So this is a fascinating area of AI guardrails that we have built and have deployed in production. We are taking it to GA in January timeframe. And what we have also done is, based on a lot of customer demand, we have extended it in the other direction, which is where users using AI tools and systems who are accessing these LLMs have the same problem. We are already the gateway for all the user traffic. So we have extended these detectors in from user to LLM direction. So very, very strong AI guardrail product, which is protecting user accessing LLM AI infrastructure and applications accessing LLM AI infrastructure with this AI guardrail framework.
There's a big change in how we think about security. And I know I said I was going to keep you here for 15 minutes or so, but I'd like to go deeper if you have time, because I'm hearing, kind of, let's break down how you're discovering AI usage. So you're helping identify, giving visibility on the associated risks there. Are you able to automate things like red teaming? It sounds like you're doing continuous sort of ongoing, I'll call it testing. What happens at runtime, once the models are live and agents are doing things on behalf of humans? And how do you govern and make sure that there's compliance there with these sort of emerging AI frameworks? Kind of, I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but could have, take your pick, and how you guys approach that.
Yeah. So no, that's a good way to frame it. And what I was talking about more about the runtime protection with the AI guard or AI guardrails that we have built. But what we started realizing is, as we were taking AI guardrail in hand of our customers did tell us that the traditional way in which their teams did red teaming on web infrastructure and application is not really working for AI applications. And, we have a very large security search function. We also have a large CISO team. We sat down with them because we are using AI to make our products better. Our engineers have access to that. So we started understanding how we are governing AI. And then we realized we are using certain off-the-shelf tools for this. There's a high degree of false positives in this. And a lot of our customers of ours who are using AI guardrail or started using it told us it would be wonderful to have a AI red teaming product embedded in this. And we started looking in the market. And as you can imagine, there are about 24 different vendors who are doing AI red teaming. We picked SPLX after evaluating a bunch of alternatives in this market for two primary reasons where they stood out. One is very high true positives, very less false positives, finding issues that no one else was finding in the red teaming exercise by simulating adversarial attacks, but also the DNA of the company in finding AI assets and then being able to, benchmark the AI models was hugely differentiated. So SPLX was the only company that we found who has coverage for all the models and has benchmark models. And as new models roll out within a couple of days, they have coverage for those models. So typically companies will do red teaming scans when they are on the shift left side, when they start building AI projects. Then they make sure they close those things before going to production. They run another scan, fix things. And as the world of AI, as you mentioned in the beginning, is very dynamic. It keeps changing every week, month. So as new models come out, new infrastructure rolls out, you do these scans and automate the red teaming part of it. Now, where we are taking it further, and this is one of the part we are announcing in January, is we are automating the output of red teaming with our AI guard. So we call it probe to Rails automation, which means as you find risks and vulnerabilities as part of red teaming, you can call AI guard to invoke guardrail on that infrastructure automatically, which no one else does. And then there are prompt hardening capabilities, which can help you look for your prompts in the system and being able to secure them as well. So this is something which will be great from a red teaming to prompt hardening, and being able to then build governance around it. As you mentioned, governance is very important. One thing we have also been doing is mapping these controls to EU AI Act, NIST, AI Risk Management Framework, and OWASP community. In fact, SPLX is one of the big contributor to the OWASP community for AI as well. And we have all these governance controls and visibility built into it. And we are building more and more as new standards emerge in this area.
So thanks for that. I'd like to put this in the context of zero trust, because I feel like when we came into this decade, zero trust was kind of a buzzword. With the whole remote work during COVID, I think it became much more critical and at least better understood as a mandate. Although people have always struggled to operationalize zero trust, but they're learning. But now I hope we keep the term zero trust, because it's not a buzzword anymore. But in this AI era, things are changing. So I'm curious as to how you think about zero trust around users and applications, which you've mentioned. I mean, it seems when we do research on this, that AI and LLMs, when you talk to practitioners, it changes how they think about trust. I mean, trust is like number one on all of our surveys now. So how does zero trust need to evolve when the threat actor is not just a human, but it's an agent or a model, or agents accessing models and systems? How do we need to think about the evolution of the whole concept of zero trust?
Yeah. So to us, zero trust, as I said, there's a lot of focus on SSE, SASE, and a lot of companies ask for it. To us, these are applications that run on top of a platform, and our platform is the zero trust platform, which essentially is the foundation on which we come and build applications. So some of the things that we are building to secure agentic traffic will be built on this platform, because we have a very strong grounding on architectural principles of having a common identity, to which even agentic identity will attach, and with the full human context. APIs with the MCP gateway, so other agentic platforms can interact with this. So we also have very good understanding of the client platforms. We have an agent that can run on all operating systems. So we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We basically leverage best of what we have built on the platform and the policy engines we have built, which are very extensible, and put the focus of building policies based on the business context and context of what these systems are, instead of trying to build network-based context or IP-based context. So this is exactly how we are extending this zero trust exchange for agents and LLMs, to say, based on what entity needs to talk with where, in addition to all the capabilities we talked about, from a red teaming to AI asset management, being able to plug that into this zero trust exchange and using that intelligence to build a layer of policing when agents talk to agents, or SaaS applications are talking to agents, or MCPs are used as gateway. We will be that gateway which is facilitating that conversation with the full policy context as a zero trust exchange. So extending the concept of zero trust, we are the only vendor which as extending zero trust for we'll call it zero trust everywhere, beyond users to workloads and physical assets and sites. Likewise, it's a new form factor that is emerging for AI, but we are able to push this zero trust everywhere for AI systems, including LLMs and agents in foreseeable future as well.
I want to ask you about a topic that I've talked to your CEO, Jay Chaudhry, about, which is just consolidation. We do a lot of surveys in this topic, and it's a challenge for organizations, SecOps teams to reduce the number of tools in their stack. It seems like every time they try to do that, they try to consolidate, something new comes along. And when I think about a company like Palo Alto, and you'd probably partner with them on integration, but I see like your approach to consolidation as more aligned with, say, for instance, CrowdStrike. You know, they do their piece on, and you bring in your piece. Okta brings in their piece for identity, and you kind of combine to do that sort of consolidation initiative. And so my question is, when you think about Agentic, you know, there are companies now that are forming because they have to protect SaaS, because now there's agents in all the SaaS. So my question to you is, how do you approach that? Why do we not need to go out and buy a new shiny tool? How is it that we can extend our existing platforms through, you know, partnerships like yours with those companies that I mentioned, or even extending the Zscaler platform? Set that up, because there are a number of companies emerging that say, no, we do this better than anybody else. You need to add this new tool. So if you could address that, please, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah. That's a very broad question, so I'll try to answer it with the lens of what I've seen in the industry as well. You know, look, AI security is a big focus area for everyone. There are about 70 to 80 startups in this space, at least, that I'm aware of, and we have spoken to many of them as well. There are large hyperscalers like Microsoft, Google, who are trying to build some foundational and some advanced controls in securing AI as well in their own ecosystems too. Every major cybersecurity vendor, the names that you mentioned, are also trying to have a AI security story. But fundamentally, one of the things that we all are also observing from a cyber angle is that the world of AI is moving and evolving very, very fast. There are new frameworks, new systems that are coming into enterprises, and what they need from a security perspective is also very different. So when you think about our approach to this, we want to be nimble and be able to provide as wide coverage as possible in the area of securing AI assets and infrastructure for a all wide variety of diverse environments that we are seeing. Secondly, we want to partner with best in breed organizations. Like we have said repeatedly, we partner with identity vendors to consume identity. And when Microsoft told us that they are working on agentic identity back in March, April, we basically were part of their launch of agentic identity recently at their Ignite conference as well. So we are also integrating with the SaaS vendors. You think about Databricks of the world, who are building agent marketplaces, and hyperscalers like AWS, we are talking to their Bedrock teams, our Vertex team in Google, to embed our AI security offerings into that. So net, this ecosystem, or the broad application surface, is huge in AI. And we want to grow by being inline and being able to connect to these systems with APIs or MCPs as the model permits, and being the true gateway where all the policing and the business logic is built for AI to connect to other AI, to connect to applications, and for it to connect anywhere. That's the broad vision we have. Now, around that, there are a set of capabilities. Red teaming is there, Guardrails is there, full visibility around AI asset, and in the future, being this zero trust exchange or agentic exchange for agent to agent or agent to MCP traffic is something we are expanding to. But Our philosophy has always been that we do certain things and we do them well. We want to do AI security and we want to do it as the one of the top two vendors or the best vendor in like we have done with everything we have done so far. And we will partner on rest of the capabilities. So there might be certain things in AI that we might partner with other vendors or we may make further acquisitions. But Zscaler has never said that we will be the God security cloud and we will do everything, which I know some vendors want to be, but then you basically lose focus and try to do too many things. We are truly a platform, and on that platform, AI security is yet another big pillar that we are going to support going forward.
Yeah, and you mentioned APIs, and it's interesting because I have two more questions for you, then I'll let you go. I got 100 questions for you, but I want to be respectful of your time. And it relates to companies building private AI stacks. We definitely see larger organizations bringing in open weight models and wanting to actually have open data models, which are starting to get announced. We saw AWS announce the reInvent. But that requires a lot of skills. We think actually the vast majority of enterprises are going to be, accessing LLMs through APIs from whether it's OpenAI or Anthropic or, pick your LLM with software on top of, what we have today. And so that API activity is going to go through the roof. So where do you fit with private AI stacks? What are the risks that you see there, and what role do you see Zscaler playing to sort of help minimize those risks?
Yeah. So look, APIs is one layer to interact with the AI ecosystem. There are A2A protocols, and then MCPs are there. A lot of traditional applications are MCP gateways or servers are used to convert those API calls into a MCP compliant or efficient way to connect it directly. Like MCP servers can directly talk with Open API spec, for example, with a little bit of code and capabilities. There are companies that are doing that work specifically. To me, these are features that eventually will get embedded into what were traditionally API gateways as well. There is a convergence happening at the infrastructure level for APIs too. So APIs is yet another way for AI systems or applications to interact, and we already sit in that data path. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the form factor keeps evolving, right? And that form factor is what we need to secure. Do we need to build new kind of capabilities to protect MCPs like we are doing now versus protecting these MCP to API converters and being able to see if they are not exploited in any way? We definitely are going in that direction, like handling complex schemas and making sure APIs are not getting overwhelmed with agentic traffic. This is the kind of work that will be required. But as one thing I mentioned, a lot of security that has been done for applications and users is based on understanding the behavior of users and application based on signatures and building capabilities in pattern matching, regular expression. But what is really important for AI system is understanding the context of conversation, context of the system in which they are connecting, and then doing policing, which is unique, and that will need more compute, will need more CPU, more memory. And this is not an easy problem to solve for a net new company that is coming into this space, because it is easy to do red teaming at scale because it happens point in time, but being able to do this inline all the time for agentic traffic needs significant amount of investment, which a company at our scale is making. And that's why we look at investing in this area organically and inorganically as well.
Excellent. Okay, one last question. I want you to help me explain to the audience where we started in addressing that inherent tension between I need security and I need to get to market quickly to compete. And you can block everything, but that doesn't, solve the problem. So how do you envision, how does Zscaler help customers, move fast, get into production without trading off security and compliance? That is kind of what the SecOps teams need and the line of business teams need. Help me square that circle and, give me the pitch for why Zscaler is the right company to help me do that.
Yeah. So look, my point is that there are multiple pieces to, like most of the companies that I speak with right now are approaching AI security in a piecemeal solution. They are trying to find best in breed, which is okay in the short term, but in longer term, it takes a lot of time to integrate and consolidate. What we are building is a integrated AI security story, right from AI asset visibility, from shift left to from development to shift left when you're building it to runtime visibility, then being able to provide you full scanning and controls in the entire life cycle of AI, including red teaming and being able to call guardrails and then using them in runtime from any form of communication to and from AI systems with user to LLMs or LLM to applications or MCPs. We are embedded in those data paths and pretty extensible, whether this is private AI or public AI systems. And then being able to provide you a governance framework around what kind of AI systems you have and do they adhere to the governance frameworks that you as a company care for, depending on where you operate from. And then, as I mentioned in the beginning, agentic AI is at cusp of adoption. I don't see large-scale agentic system deployed in production, and that was due to lack of proper authorization systems and proper standards around it. We are getting to that state. 2026, I believe, will be the phase of massive agentic AI adoption. And with the announcement that Zscaler is making in this area, in addition to what we already have on the table, we will be a place where you can come and secure your AI from building to deploying to running it at large scale with Zscaler.
Well, Dhawal Sharma, thanks so much for your time today. I know I kept you longer than I promised, but really interesting developments in the past, not only the 3 years, I mean, like you say, the past 6 months, it's just been a rapid injection of innovation. Look forward to seeing you guys in 2026 at all the major conferences, RSA, Black Hat, and of course your own event. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
All right, and thank you for watching. This is Dave Vellante. We'll see you next time on theCUBE Conversation.